Google I/O just gave people a familiar flood of AI headlines, new Gemini features, smarter AI search, more ways to automate work. Is the real story simply that Google shipped more products?
No. The biggest AI story from Google I/O is not another model. It is a new front door to the internet. Google is trying to become one of the places where users hand over a goal before they open a website or an app. That creates the central tension in this episode: convenience versus control. The headline is temporary. The value shift is not.
So the overlooked question is not, what can this agent do? It is, who receives the instruction first?
Exactly. And who receives the instruction first may influence which tools get called, which services get considered, and where the final action happens. The next internet gatekeeper may not own every app. It may decide which app acts on your behalf.
That sounds bigger than a product launch. But what actually changed?
Start with the behavior Google is trying to create. In the old internet, you asked a question, clicked a link, opened an app, compared options, and completed the task yourself. In the agent era, you may begin with a goal. Find an apartment that matches these requirements. Monitor the price of this product. Organize my morning. Keep working in the background and tell me when something changes.
A traditional search engine waits for the next query. An agent keeps the assignment alive.
Right. Google says AI mode in search has already surpassed 1 billion monthly users. That does not prove people will hand over recurring tasks, but it explains why this is not a small experiment. Google already has a high-frequency place where new habits could begin.
And search is no longer only returning answers?
Google is introducing information agents in search. They are designed to work in the background, monitor for changes, and send an update when something relevant happens. Google says the first rollout is planned for AI Pro and Ultra subscribers this summer. A new intelligent search box is also rolling out gradually. The strategic point is simple. Search is moving from a place you visit for an answer to a place where you can leave an assignment.
Search is one surface. Where else is this showing up?
Google is pushing the same pattern into Gemini and Workspace. Daily Brief can bring together important updates from Gmail, calendar, and task information after the user connects the relevant apps. AI Inbox is designed to surface urgent tasks and relevant files. Gemini Spark is an early beta personal AI agent that can run around the clock in the cloud, connect with Workspace tools, and take action under the user's direction. Google says Spark is available to Google AI Ultra subscribers in the United States.
So two changes are happening at once. Search is becoming a place where you can leave a task. Workspace is becoming a place where that task can stay alive across the day. The common thread is not the interface, it is persistence, and that makes it commercially more important than a chatbot. Taken separately, those sound like productivity upgrades.
Taken together, they point to a larger strategy. Google wants to move from answering isolated questions to holding a persistent place in the workflow. A one-time answer creates a short interaction. A recurring assignment creates a relationship, and a relationship can become an entry point.
So the old model is search, click, and leave. The emerging model is assign, monitor, and return.
Yes, and that is where the business question begins. When users describe an outcome to an agent instead of opening each app themselves, where does the value move?
Give me a simple way to picture it.
The old internet was a little like a commercial street. You entered one store to browse, you visited another to compare. You opened a separate app to check your calendar. You went somewhere else to read reviews. Every business had a chance to own part of the journey because you entered its digital storefront.
And the agent version?
It is more like hiring a personal procurement manager. You describe the outcome you want. The manager breaks the job into steps. It decides which stores to visit, which tools to call, which information matters, when to alert you, and where the final action should happen. The stores still matter, but the manager now holds a powerful position between you and the stores.
That is the gateway.
Exactly. Websites and apps do not suddenly disappear. They still provide the room, the product, the software, the inventory, and the specialized service. But some decision-making may move one layer higher. If an agent receives the first instruction, it may influence how the task is framed, which options are compared, and which merchant appears at the moment of action.
A company can remain useful and still lose leverage.
That is the key. A hotel still provides the room, a retailer still ships the product, a software tool still performs the specialized work. But if another layer decides when the service is discovered, how it is compared, and whether it is selected, the provider risks becoming a supplier behind somebody else's front door.
So the shift is not from websites to no websites. It is from direct customer journeys to agent-routed journeys.
Yes, the front door gains context. The service behind the door risks losing part of the customer relationship.
Where does the shopping piece fit? That seems like the clearest place to see the control issue.
Google introduced Universal Cart, an intelligent shopping cart designed to work across merchants and across Google services. It is scheduled to roll out across Search and the Gemini app in the United States this summer, with YouTube and Gmail planned to follow. That matters because the gateway is moving closer to the transaction.
There are two protocol names attached to that. What do they mean without the technical jargon?
Think of the Universal Commerce Protocol, or UCP, as a common language that helps merchants and agents work together during checkout. Think of the Agent Payments Protocol, or AP2, as a set of guardrails for agent-driven payments. It can set boundaries around budgets, merchants, and products when an agent spends money on a user's behalf. The protocols are the plumbing. The business point is that the gateway becomes more useful when it can move from discovery toward action.
An agent that answers a question is useful. An agent that monitors, compares, organizes, reminds, and moves closer to checkout occupies a more valuable position.
Right, it sits closer to intent, and intent is where many business models begin.
But Google has not captured the entire transaction.
Correct. Google says the brand remains the merchant of record. The retailer remains the seller of record. That limit matters. It means we should not claim that the merchant disappears or that Google has already won the transaction. But the strategic questions remain. Who owns the first instruction? Who frames the options? Who stays present while the user moves from interest to action?
And if the answer increasingly becomes an agent gateway, the layer above the merchant may gain more influence over discovery.
It may. It could also gain more bargaining power and more insight into user behavior. But the outcome for independent websites, apps, hotels, and retailers is mixed. A smaller business may gain demand if an agent discovers its product or service at exactly the right moment. A useful tool may gain conversions if it can be called smoothly inside a larger workflow.
The upside is new demand. The downside is losing the direct relationship.
Exactly. If the customer no longer visits the business directly, the brand may become less visible. The interface may matter less. The business may have less control over the journey. The service still gets delivered, but the gateway increasingly decides when that service enters the conversation.
This is why convenience and control are tied together.
The better the agent becomes at reducing friction, the more valuable the routing layer may become.
Does Google realistically have a chance to become a default gateway, or are we giving a large company too much credit simply because it has many products?
The cautious version of the argument is stronger than the dramatic one. The case is not that Google has already won. The case is that Google has a powerful starting position. Search is one part of that position. Google says AI mode has surpassed 1 billion monthly users. Gemini is another. Google says the Gemini app now serves more than 900 million monthly users. Workspace is another. Google says more than 4 billion users rely on apps such as Gmail, Docs, and Drive.
Those are large distribution surfaces, but they are not proof that users will trust Spark every day or change how they shop.
Exactly, those numbers do not prove Spark retention. They do not prove information agents will become a habit. They do not prove Universal Cart will change shopping behavior, and they do not prove that Google has won a gatekeeper position in the agent era. They explain why the strategy deserves attention now.
Because Google is not trying to create a user relationship from zero.
Right. It already has high-frequency surfaces where users search, communicate, create documents, organize information, and discover products. That gives the company multiple chances to turn an AI feature into repeated behavior. Repeated behavior is what turns a feature into an entry point.
Who benefits if this shift continues?
Platforms that frequently receive user intent may gain a stronger position, especially if they connect multiple products and remain close to the final action. Tools, merchants, and services that are easy for agents to call may also benefit. In an agent-mediated internet, being useful may not be enough. A service may also need to be discoverable, callable, and reliable inside a larger workflow.
And the pressure falls on businesses that depend heavily on direct visits, traditional search traffic, or a customer journey they fully control.
Yes, but there is a serious counter-argument.
Let me make the strongest version of it. The agent era may not create one dominant front door at all. UCP is designed as an open protocol. Brands remain the merchant of record. Users may use one agent for work, another for search, another for shopping, and another inside a specialized app. If switching costs stay low, why assume routing power concentrates?
That is a credible challenge. Open protocols could allow third-party agents to call merchants and tools on similar terms. Users may continue to split tasks across platforms. merchants may preserve direct customer relationships, and high-risk tasks may face limits from trust, privacy, and regulation.
There is a tension inside the product itself. The agent becomes more useful when it has more access, but more access creates more reasons to restrict it.
Exactly. To become more useful, an agent needs continuity and permission. But every increase in access gives users, businesses, and regulators a reason to demand boundaries. The gateway becomes more powerful only if people trust it enough to keep it turned on.
So what is the correct conclusion today?
Not that Google has become the new gatekeeper, not that websites disappear. The more defensible conclusion is that Google is building a serious bid to become one of the default task gateways. The value shift to watch is from separate website and app entry points toward an agent layer that receives intent, routes tasks, and moves closer to the final action.
Map out the next 6 to 18 months. What is the base case?
In the base case, more users hand-selected recurring tasks to search agents, Daily Brief, and Spark as the products roll out. Universal Cart moves some shopping activity into a more connected flow. Google becomes an important agent entry point, but users still move between multiple platforms and merchants keep part of the direct relationship.
What would acceleration look like?
If Spark earns repeat use, if information agents become more than a novelty, if Universal Cart expands across products and merchants, and if UCP and AP2 gain real adoption, the agent layer could absorb more of the routing function. Websites and apps would still exist, but more discovery, recommendation, follow-up, and transaction initiation could happen before the user enters a standalone service.
And the reversal case?
If Spark and search agents remain limited experiments, if users keep completing most tasks directly inside apps and websites, if merchants resist platform control, or if open protocols let many agents call the same services on similar terms, the gateway may stay distributed. Google would still have useful products, but convenience would not automatically become durable gatekeeper power.
What should a viewer watch to tell which path is forming?
First, do people keep using background agents after the novelty wears off? Second, are information agents used for recurring tasks rather than occasional tests? Third, does Universal Cart expand across Search, Gemini, YouTube, and Gmail as planned, and do merchants connect in meaningful ways? Fourth, do businesses begin talking about agent traffic, agent conversion rates, or changes in the customer relationship?
And what would force us to revise the thesis?
We should revise it if Spark and search agents stay stuck in small tests, if users still complete most tasks by directly opening apps and websites, if Universal Cart and AP2 fail to gain broad merchant adoption, or if open protocols, privacy limits, trust concerns, and regulation keep routing power fragmented. Those are not footnotes. They are the conditions that determine whether convenience becomes control.
Then the lasting question is not whether Google launched another impressive AI feature. It is whether users begin handing Google the first instruction.
Exactly. The next internet gatekeeper may not own every app. It may decide which app acts on your behalf.
And that leads naturally to the next question. If the agent becomes the front door, what happens when the checkout button begins moving inside that door?
Subscribe to Value Shift if you want to follow the bottleneck as it moves, and track how profit pools, entry points, bargaining power, and strategic control shift after the headline fades. The headline is temporary, the value shift is not.